What up, everyone?
Happy Friday.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Episode 24, day $1.0.
I need you. I wish I could sing like that.
You probably can, bro.
Oh, shit.
You're better on podcasts, so.
Listen, man, what do you say? I'm not even good singing in the shower. You know when it sounds good? Like, you know when you sing and you can't fuck it up? Like the water's on, you're in the shower, you hear yourself from the inside. No, bro. It probably still
You can rap, though, dude.
Another day.
Another day.
Another day, another dollar.
We'll do that one.
Yeah. Hey, bias. As always, great subject today. And it was Cash's birthday yesterday. So
happy birthday, Cash.
Yeah, little
1
man.
year.
We'll talk about it,
1
little
year.
dude. 1 year old, man. But it did bring up some thoughts I think we can kind of speak to and flow with. And not only from prior to business, some unfortunate circumstances, but man, just this last year, and this is where I think it really starts becoming, relative, for the podcast is just some of these things that we've gone through in business where like you wanted something to work out, and it didn't, or you let someone go, or you thought you didn't want to, whatever it may be, and then realizing how some of those circumstances are literally the best thing that happened, right? So we want to kind of dive into that. So the title today is pointing at you because I gave it to you and you wrote it down and I forgot it.
I'll summarize. When things don't go your way, how that can be the best thing for you.
Right. So how not getting what you want can be the best thing that ever happened to you, and just learning how to, and I wrote a little bit more to that. Not writing notes in traffic, of course. But just understanding where to place your focus and just understanding like you don't have control.
Yep.
Like you've got to let go of control of something, whether that's a relationship or business or whatever, and just understand that at best you have influence.
Dude, if we've done one podcast that's relatable, it's going to be this one, man.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through this all the time.
As unfortunate as it is that you don't have control, we've had some things work out for us that would not have worked out if I had control. Because if I would have had control, I would have forced something maybe to go through that honestly maybe wasn't the best circumstance or the best situation looking back at it. But in a moment, you're emotional or you haven't quite seen the bigger picture, and you just haven't seen it. So this is where you just have to trust the process. This is where you have to fall back on fundamentals. And this is why fundamentals are so important, because if something doesn't go your way, how do you bounce back from that, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're just putting all your eggs in one basket, or if you got a lucky shot going on and you're playing the lottery with something and then it doesn't work out, that shouldn't be killing your business. And if it is, you got to ask yourself, right? But if you're fundamentally sound, more times than not, just the ebb and flow, right? And just going with focusing on influence and how well you can influence people or influence your brand or your business, not control.
So I think starting off, I always like looking at the why.
Why do you get a start?
You already started.
Then stop saying a start.
You already started.
Let me have the start. Don't take the start if I took the start.
So since Will kicked us off,
have you noticed like every Friday, dude, Eli gets a little chipper, doesn't he?
Do I?
He gets a little ballsy.
Every Friday.
Every Friday, man, he's a little spunky, looks at me a little different, man. He kind of sits up to the table, puts his fucking arm, and
You're rubbing off on me, dude.
He's showing me his delt.
Rubbing off on me. You know how girls like to hang out and they all kind of start their period around the same time?
Jesus,
you just start
this
hanging around.
Friday went bad.
You just start hanging around some testosterone, man, and I think my testosterone is raising just by being around you.
So he's pointing the finger and placing blame.
That's what happens.
I just don't want you. I don't want you beating me up on camera. I don't want you hopping over here and stealing my mic and getting crazy.
Oh, man.
I don't want people to, find out.
What I always like diving into is the why behind things. So, personally, I do it with myself. Why am I feeling a certain way and trying to establish that? So let's look at when you don't get what you want. Let's dive into why. All right, a huge part of that why, I promise you, is that you have expectations of yourself or you have expectations of others. And that's kind of the first point that I want to start off on is why you're putting expectations on other people. Do you have expectations? Because for me, that's a huge reason that I don't get disappointed in things or let things really affect me that much. Don't get me wrong, I still do. I'm just like anybody else. I'm not perfect with that. But the expectations we put on other people.
Yeah. Well, there's a balance to that.
Okay.
Because not putting expectations on people, especially when you're a leader, makes you a shitty team.
Yeah.
Bottom line, right? Like I understand, if you don't have any expectations of people and how that can manage some of your emotions and things like that. But at the same time, not having expectations of someone, like, well, what makes them successful then? What's the barometer? How are they challenged? So I think what it is, it's a hybrid. And I've been saying that a lot. I think it's understanding how to place accountability on people, how to place expectations on people, like, and not necessarily for yourself, but for them. Okay. But then just having no expectation that they're actually going to follow through with it, understand they're going to make mistakes, understand things are going to follow through, and then just understanding I shouldn't be allowing myself to have an emotional response to that first. I should be addressing it. I should be running a diagnostic on how to make them better. Not being pissed off if it's not working. If I'm going to go, when you're done with this, since you're starting today, jerk, I'm going to go back even further and kind of talk about cash and some of those circumstances and just where I was at in life, because I think some of that pertains too, but I want to let you finish.
Well, I think it depends on, like you mentioned, having influence. Like, where are you having influence? If we're talking leading a team, if you're a manager, if you're leading a team, if you have a business, then 1000%, yes, you need to have expectations of people on your team. If we're talking a random person that doesn't owe you anything,
well, see, now
a little different, right?
We maybe for the first time have a live opposing view.
Oh,
what about a girl? I mean, now if it's a random person, true. But what about a girlfriend? What about a wife? What about a best friend?
Different. Totally different. Totally different. If they're in your life, yes, you need to. I'm super selective about the people I have in my life, and if they don't fit in, then I don't deal with them. And
Could
that
you
is
be making them better by giving them expectations.
No,
or would that go into communication? Like, I'm sure you have expectations in your marriage.
The people that are in my life.
She's like, Eli, don't be a fuckhead. And you're like, hey, cool, don't be this, right?
Yes, those people, 100%.
And that's where I want to focus. If you're at a place in life where like random people affect you, we're not for you yet.
Let's do that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's do that.
And I also want to dive in a little bit prior, and this might give you some context of just circumstantial, right? So, and I'm just going to kind of roll with this and hopefully not be a sissy about it. But, so when I left that fitness company, cool, right? Had a little bit in savings, man, not much, and didn't want to touch it. And a lot of you have heard this story. And so Kate's living with her parents, Chloe is with mommy, living with parents, and I'm sleeping in my buddy's mom's house, the Y2K pantry, the Campbell's soup and water and Fig Newtons. By the way, I didn't know they had so many flavors of Fig Newtons.
Really? Do they?
Bro, stress eating like a mug.
Yeah.
Anyway. I'm doing that, and I'm studying for real estate and just trying to figure my life out. And some people, like I felt like I had accomplished a lot. A lot of people had felt like I had accomplished a lot with that fitness company, accomplished a lot as an officer, accomplished a lot in the Marine Corps. And it actually was almost working against me. Like, I knew how to put myself under stress. I knew how to put myself under the gun and create expectations for myself to the point, though, where you do try to control it, right? And, but I was okay with the stress. I was having a hard time with like my identity a little bit, and just like, man, what the heck?
Who are you? You're
just
shedding
what the heck am I
skin
doing?
And
right. So it goes to the extreme of like, man, I sell everything. I sell off everything, and I got to get a new car because I got to drive around, right? And I go with my mom, and dude, for the first time in my life, my mom is signing for a car, because I haven't even shown income yet, right? And this car, it's not the most expensive car, but it's a pricey car because I traded in a car. So those of you that know, when you trade in a car and it's got no equity in it, and you're going to take some upside down equity, well, you can't just go get some basic Chevy. Because there's just not enough value in those Chevys. They won't let you roll.
You'll still be upside down when the lease is up.
They won't let you go upside down.
Right.
They won't let you go over the value.
Yeah.
So if you're leasing or buying a car that's a Chevy at $30,000 and you got $9,000 of bad equity and some trade in, they can't. Yeah. There's just not enough value in it. So we had to go to the other side. And it's a good buddy of mine. He did phenomenal for us, but he explained that, and we got a Cadillac. My grandpa drove Cadillacs, and my mom was excited, and we're doing it, man, and the payment, and my mom was just like, are you good? And I'm like, I'll stick my leg out on the corner and do what before I don't make this car payment. She's like, cool. So she trusted me, man. My mom's been my biggest fan for a long time. Mom, if you're watching, love you. She's been my biggest fan, but also there's been some times where I scared the shit out of her. You know what I mean? Where it's probably not fun to be a fan of mine. Yeah. I hadn't done anything in my life prior to this that like would say I'm going to mess this up, but it was a big step, going into a completely different career and selling everything off and minimizing. And, so I do that and, I get the car, cool. And like right after that, like the district GM guy, like takes care of my mom, gets her home because I'm going right back to work. I got to get going, right? So I'm on it. As I'm going back to work, man, I get a call, that a friend of ours, a Marine combat veteran, died in a car accident.
Damn.
Was riding his motorcycle home.
Yeah.
So I found out about it the next day.
Yeah.
So it was the night prior. They run some bar and grills. I spoke about Bastards before, Manny and those guys, and hit them a lot harder than me, of course, right? But so I get that call, and he was riding his motorcycle home. SUV runs a light, smashes into him, kills him, and it hit those guys super hard. They were a lot closer to him than I was. But for me, it just kind of taking me back, like, what the heck am I doing with my life? It kind of hit me like that. Like, who am I? What am I doing? Like, I've accomplished so much, and I'm starting over. I got this stupid tie on in this car, driving back to this job. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And just like, man, what am I doing? And you don't really have control. So this is what I'm getting at today, in addition to just circumstantial with like employees or whatever, just in life in general. And I think you need to start there and learn that lesson. And I was just in this perfect storm, and just hearing about him, it wasn't good. And it wasn't good because it also like made me reflect on myself as far as like, man, am I doing everything that I can? And I was working hard. I studied hard. I was working hard, but like, is this what I want?
Is
this who I am? Is
Yeah.
this Ty?
Yeah.
Me? Is this job me? I don't know. And like, you're trying to force these thoughts. You're trying to force yourself to have an answer, but you haven't really let a process go through. And this is where I'm going to get to later on in the podcast about just understanding a process. But so that happens. Okay. I go to work and I try to compartmentalize and get some more calls in and just finish my day out strong, and this is what I'm also want to talk about today is like, just even when you're not able to control everything and you're not really sure what your identity is and you're just trying to dive into stuff, like your day to day still has to be locked on.
Yeah.
Cause at the end of the day, like, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay. Well, but you got to keep moving forward in some direction that's productive. Okay. Because if real estate was not for me, I was going to figure it out. If it was for me, I was going to figure it out. Like, so I was still staying locked onto my daily goals, so I'm like, cool, like this sucks, but I'm going back to work and hey, I got this car to pay for in 60 days and whatever. Even worse, dude, I took like a $2,000 rebate on top of the car for gas money. Okay. And I'm fine now, obviously. Right. But, all good. Anyway, I'm going back and I start working and cool. And I wasn't going through the motions, but kind of. I get my work done for the day, accomplish a couple things, and then cool. But obviously, it just doesn't feel better. It's just a weird day. And it's just weird. Like, you feel bad for your boy's family. I felt bad for the guys in California that were with him every single day that are now having to not only miss that guy, but hack the load. So I'm the least of the concern. And again, it wasn't just missing him. It was just that it smacked me and just made me question myself. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be a death that does that to you, but that's just what did it for me. And then I get a call. Oh man. I get a call from Kate, and she's like, hey, and she's chipper. Hey. And she doesn't sound like that. Yeah. By the way, she listens to these and she gets mad at me when I mock her.
Like,
I'm not mocking you. I'm mocking. That's just my girl voice. Hey, how are you? So she calls and, hey, how are you? And whatever. And yeah, I'm not okay. Like, I'm not crying yet or anything like that. I'm just airhead or just space. Yeah. And she kind of picks up on it, and I'm just like, yeah. I tell her what happens, and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? I go, I'm good. Like, I wasn't good, but I'm like, hey, I'm fine. Like, this is not about me. I don't even want to make this about me. What is about me is that this happening just made me question my entire life right now. Like, and I'm just, dude. So I get home, when I get home, she's crying. She's like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no. Look, I'm going to be fine. Just, I didn't even know how to like articulate. Look, yes, I'm sad, but there's more people that were closer to him that are having a harder time than me. This is not me. It was just that it brewed some thoughts in me that just made me question myself. And she's like, no, I got to tell you something. And I'm like, dude, listen, okay? She's super hot. and I'm broke at this point,
Yeah.
right? Like I got a little bit of money in savings.
Yep.
Is this the breakup talk? You know what I mean? Like, is this the where like I just don't think it's working out?
Yeah.
You broke ass. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And she's crying, so that's not good. And we don't normally have those talks in our house. So usually we're good to go. So when she's like, "No, like I got to talk to you," and I'm like, "Man, like this ain't gonna go well." And I didn't know what it. I wasn't really sure. And she had this little envelope on the counter and was just really trying to be sweet about it. You could tell, looking back at it, she was really trying to be sweet. And then just unexpectedly, she called me, and then now she feels bad. And so she's crying, and she's like, "I'm pregnant." And that silence you hear right there, that was my head. Just that.
Yeah.
I just paused. I just looked at her, and she's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm really sorry I'm telling you tonight. I know it's not a good day for you, but I didn't want to keep it from you. And I'm really sorry." And she's crying, and I said, "Of course it's okay." I said, "I'm just numb." Like when that was like the knockout punch. Like, you're gonna be a dad again. And you just, so everything that was going on and just missing him and questioning myself and just literally feeling like the only thing I have control over are just my daily actions. That's it. As far as like who I am right now and my identity and where it's going to go, where it's going to end up, no clue. And then wham, hey, pregnant.
Life.
That was it,
Yeah.
man. Just
Yeah.
silence. It just,
Yeah.
like, I still feel it to this day. Like it just like my heart stopped. And dude, I thank her so much for that moment because she's like, "What are you thinking?" And I said, "I'm just numb." And she says, "I understand." And she just let me be me. Like she just let me, and this is when we can get into like who's in your life, whether you're setting expectations of them or not, just having the right kind of people that just get you. She had no idea, like, things that I've been through in life or that I shoulder or whatever. But she knows me enough to just know, like, me being numb right now has nothing to do with you or not loving you or not being excited. Your message to me just now was that knockout blow. Like a UFC fight. Like, I just got
You're
punched
rocked.
twice.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. And I'm just stunned. Right? It's like old Mortal Kombat fat. Like, finish him.
Yeah.
I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
like,
yeah. That's the one right there, man.
Gone. So,
Yeah.
dude, I was just numb.
Yeah.
And over time, like that just started picking me up. And it was like, look, man, like you got a responsibility. And there's people that look up to you. There's people that need you. And it just started processing in my head, like, like sad or not, knowing your identity or what's going on or not, like, you're not always going to know those things. I'm like, well, okay, but here's the deal. You breathing today? Yep. Okay. So you have an opportunity. So what you do have control of is your actions.
Yes.
Right? Like, am I going to, okay, so I'm trying this career. Okay. Are you going to show up every day? You're going to apply yourself. Are you going to listen to people ahead of you that have done it, that are winning, and apply it and then figure out your own way to do it? Are you going to do those things that you do have control of? Excuse me. Or are you just going to continue to like be numb and then not do something to fix it? But I think my biggest thing with that is just understanding how to let go. There's things in life that are just not fun. There's actions in work that are not fun. People quit. People suck. Circumstances are just bummers. Like there's just, man, like, hey, I'm sure, like if somebody were to come to me after I heard about my friend, like, hey, I'm sure there's a lesson you're going to learn from that. Like if you fucking said that to me after I found out a Marine died,
Right.
I'm going to send you with him to just confirm that that's correct. Okay.
Right.
That's where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So, but it's true. It's just the wrong time. Like, I'm sure you're going to
Yeah.
take something from it. And, just hearing that, it wasn't that Chloe didn't matter. Chloe was almost 8 at the time. It's not that she doesn't matter. It's not that I wasn't already fulfilling a role. I just wasn't excited about much. You know what I mean? Like, I was just kind of going through some motions. I was controlling my daily actions. But for the first time, and since I could have remembered, like, okay, like battlefield, being a Marine, whatever, like you might not necessarily know the outcome of a battlefield or this or that, but you're a Marine. and it's like in you, and you know what you are. So it's like you're prepared for the unknown. The unknown is what you do.
You've got that identity. Yeah.
I was struggling with all. I was
Yes.
struggling with direction of what the heck real estate was going to be, if it was going to be. I was struggling if I even fit into that role. I didn't have a title. I wasn't a police officer. I wasn't a Marine. Like
You didn't
for the
have that
first
identity.
time,
Yeah.
right? Like I didn't have an identity. I had to
right.
create one.
Right.
And being a father is what it turned into.
Mm-hmm.
But it was over time of just like, look, man, you've got an opportunity. Like there's people that are reliant on you, that need you.
Mm-hmm.
So that gave me enough to just keep going through my emotions every day and compartmentalizing. And just when you're at work, like just really stay focused on what you have control of, and then just understanding where you have influence, but you have to let go of control. I had no idea how to do that. I just got put in a circumstance in life where I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Hey, things have happened. You've made decisions. You are here now. There is no going back.
Mm-hmm.
There's only going forward. And forward is unlimited. It could be any shit show you want it to be, or it could be something that's productive. And then over time, I started getting better at it and getting better. And I started learning through like just while we were pregnant with Cash, just allowing a process to take its course and just understand like, you know what, man, like, you know who you are. Yeah, man, I know. Okay, I know who I am. Okay, so how does who I am correlate to real estate?
Yes.
And that's when my shit took off. That's like not trying to be someone else in real estate, not doing it how someone else do it, applying law, applying fundamentals, don't get me wrong, but then just being who I am and who I'm proud of being, and then applying that to real estate. And that's when I really started to catch on and go, all right, like I'm onto some shit here. You know what I mean? But that entire storm, like none of our productivity as far as on my side and making the income that I made in my first year and different things, like it really just fell on the shoulders of just starting to like let go of just having control of something and just taking pride of like, look, who are you as a man, right? Who are you as a person? Who are you as a friend? Who are you as a father? Like, who are you? And then how does that apply to what you're doing?
I think
And I just got proud about that. And I didn't need to know the entire outcome because
No.
I knew if I'm
Yes.
if I'm applying myself with the right amount of energy for the right reasons, it's going to be in the right direction. And whether it's real estate or not, I'm going to find out. But I got to give it that time and dedication. And if I'm going to do it, I got to be myself while I'm doing it
Yes.
to figure it out. And boy, has it been a success. But if I would have had control of those situations, man, I don't know where I'd be right now. So you have to just kind of like allow yourself to let go of that and just understand, like when you're weathering that storm, right? Like you got to fall back on who you are and your own personal character and just know
Yeah.
like whatever direction I go, no matter how unknown it is, if I'm doing it with integrity, with the right amount of effort and the right amount of just relationship building and just care, something's going to work out. And if it's not this, if it's something I don't know yet and it's on the horizon, but if you're not doing it the right ways or you're shortcutting or you're bringing your frustrations of not being able to control something and now you're forcing control out of something, shit show.
Well, that's the thing, and I think that's step number one for people, man, is have an identity. Find out who you are. If you don't have that, none of this other shit that we talked about today is going to work.
Which is okay, by the way. It's
Yeah.
okay to go find out who you are.
But you have to take time to find that out because, like you said, same thing with me. I know that wherever we end up, because if I rely on who I am and I stick to my fundamentals and what I've stood for so far, I'm going to be okay. Whatever avenue that's going to be in, whatever happens, because life happens, guys. But it also
I'm glad you said that because you know what? Like, and I bring up Brian Shantosh. By the way, I got to get that snippet for him when we called him a mentor. He did a podcast on life gets in the way, life happens, and he's like, no, life doesn't get in the way. Life is just in the way. Like life is just life.
That's
like
the thing. Yeah,
it's not that something got in the way and like normally it doesn't. It's like no, man. Like
always does.
Just the process of life. Like you're just gonna have obstacles. And he made this statement that really kind of stuck to me the other day about not making a choice. You don't just choose. Okay, well, this or that. Chocolate or vanilla? Oh shit, they don't have strawberry. No, chocolate. Right? He was like, hey, make a decision. And he's talked, and I really get into tune with Tosh because I feel like I'm the same way. I really try to like carry weight with my words. So when he was talking about making a decision and what that sounds like versus just making a choice, well, just choose. No. just choosing and then making a decision is just, there's just more commitment and thought process to it. So I know I get all cracked out on that stuff, but it's true, man.
I laugh because Megan, one of the things, hey babe, do you want to go out to eat tonight? Sure. You know what I say? Sure or yes. I say it that's my thing. I say it to everybody. I say sure or yes.
Yeah.
Make a decision, right?
Right. Because sure is like it could go either way. That's like, hey, should we order Chinese or just get pizza? Yeah.
Right.
Is that both?
Wait.
God damn it.
Yeah.
No, I get it. So to just I didn't mean to cut you off about that.
No, yeah, that's well.
And I'll tell you what, I'm cutting you off. This is what you get for starting.
Yeah, I know.
Cash is probably one of the first times I can remember in my life just hitting my knees, man, and just not praying for anything.
Yeah.
Just saying thank you. Right? We tend to get religious or faithful, and I'm not here to be religious or tell you to be religious versus being faithful. I'm not going to say anything to you. Those are your decisions. But after that boy got here, I was on my knees one day by the chair, and to whoever or whatever I was talking to, thank you. You know, and I feel like as much as we want to feel bad for ourselves sometimes, and you're not sure who you are and where it's going, all this stuff I've been talking about all day, life just has a way of going, hey, hey, doggy, come here. Come here. Check this out.
Hey, doggy.
Look what I got for you.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth. And then you go, oh, man, thank you. Thank you. And but again, if life would have said, well, you have control, would you like a baby right now?
Hell no.
On the day that I heard that,
hell no.
I don't even know if I had enough in me to respond to anything. You know, so man, like, I don't want control. Having control of everything is the assumption that I know best and that I know all, and I don't. Right? So when you go through something like that, you realize, man, the only thing I want control of is who I'm going to choose to be. Every circumstance is going to be unpredictable, and it's going to be different, and you're going to deal with adversity and different things as you go. I don't want control of all that. I just want control of how I process it and who I choose to be going through that, because I know at the other end, I'm just a better dude for it. And I also know trying to control things, what you could potentially miss out on by your narrow mind controlling everything. Yeah, that's like having missionary sex for the rest of your life compared to what life could give you. Not to be inappropriate. You're not that creative.
Yeah, no.
You don't know that much. Controlling everything would be a disaster. But I think you have to go through it. And we talk about our sons, not to talk about our sons too much today, but with Cash having his birthday last night, man, and he'll watch baseball with me at night for like an hour. And then we'll watch some Puppy Dog Pals, and you know, your kids are running around. Now Cash is running around, but like for the first, like he's walking and running around and he's doing his thing, but when dad gets home, like he wants dad. Yeah. And he'll sit with me in our little chair and he'll watch baseball and watch his Puppy Dog Pals for at least an hour. And dude, it slows me down. And he's not a dog, don't get me wrong. I'm just using an analogy here, but I feel like Cash is a service dog. Like I felt like everything that I needed to just allow me to just slow down and appreciate and just let go. Cash was like a trust fall for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
isn't that funny, man?
Dude, it is. And I think we're getting old enough to realize at some point, I don't know where you're at in life or what age you are. I'm 34. I feel like I'm old enough to realize I don't know shit. You know, and just understand, like, look, man, you're not going to figure all this out. You just got to figure out who you are, what your stance is on it, and how you want to approach every variable that gets thrown at you.
And that's the mission, and that's the major problem, dude, is that most people don't have an identity. Most people don't know who they are. Most people haven't even thought hard enough to think, what do I stand for? What are my non-negotiables? What are the things that I don't bend on?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Because I've seen this a lot. A lot of people's identity is actually expectations.
Or stuff that, like, what do you mean?
As in integrity, being loyal, not lying, committing. It's like they're actually saying things they expect from people, but they're not necessarily expecting and adhering from themselves.
I think part of that is people say what they think they're supposed to say.
Okay, right? There's that too. Both.
Yeah, and then the flip side of that is, people just don't look at themselves as the issue with anything. It's always somebody else. And most people, to coincide with that, they want to control the things that they can't control. The traffic, whether that guy you just interviewed with is going to hire you or not, whether that guy you're trying to sell your product to buys from you or not. Everyone tries to control the things they can't control, and then the things that they actually can control, their mindset, their discipline, their self-accountability.
Dude, we had such a great idea for the podcast, right? With a buddy of ours, and there's some space and this and that. And yeah, man, this is going to be baller. Yada, 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 yada. And he runs a different company, and then we had we love the dude. We're still great friends, but there was a couple just disconnects with the company versus ours. And then it's like, man, like, well, but if we say something like we can't say that, but then go do our podcast there because that's just not a good representation. And like, oh, crap, what are we going to do? And then now we
wasn't going to work out.
Yeah, now we're at an undisclosed bomb shelter, as you can tell behind me. And it was like, wait, well, we don't have to use a key card to get into some corporate building after 6 p.m. if we want to do it at night. We don't have to share this space, so we better hurry up because someone else wants to do their podcast after ours. And then, if we're using a room that everyone else uses, so our podcast is going to look like everyone else's. And you guys already know how I'm going to go with that, right? That's a shit show.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Right? So the unfortunate circumstances, circumstances couldn't have been a better situation for everyone. So again, but if you have control of everything, that's you assuming that you know best. You know variables. You just don't.
And I'm really big on faith, and that's faith in myself, knowing that I'll do the right thing, and that's faith that
George Michael song, man.
Dude, I'm kind of blindly optimistic. I just feel like the universe is working in my favor. I just have a feeling like that.
And guys, what he's doing to you right now, he does to me every day.
And
I say something, he goes, "See, feel that, feel that."
When you start paying
that's
attention,
your hand on my leg, Eli. That's not the universe.
Dude, when you start paying attention to things, you start realizing, and then that's when it gets fun. And that's when just day-to-day life, like, yes, things can be annoying, but how much you let them affect you. If I can't find my keys in the morning,
that's what you control.
If I can't find my keys in the morning, yes, I could get mad at myself that I don't put them in the same place every day. However, I don't have my keys, whether I'm mad at myself or not. I'm trying to find them. But when you see little things like, all right, well, who the fuck knows what a 3-minute delay in my day? First of all, it's not ruining anything. Second of all, who knows what accidents that's preventing me from? Have you guys seen Final Destination? God, if any of those guys lost their keys
not Final
before
Destination. You're talking about a movie. Go to 9/11.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's people that wrote about how they missed a flight. Or because daughter had to go and mommy was busy, so daddy took kiddo to school and was late.
Dude,
they missed Twin Tower. But then this also, but you've got to go both sides. This also means that whoever did show up, like, we can't answer to that. Like, then that means whatever happens when you're there, then that's just how it's supposed to go.
Yeah. Yep.
And you know, I'm not going to get stuck in the weeds on that stuff. That's not what this is about. But there's a harsh reality behind life and death, right? And not having control and not knowing when that's going to happen means, like, well, if you're here and you're breathing, right? Check your pulse. You're here. Okay. You have an opportunity.
And a choice.
A decision.
That's right.
But how you go about your day, how you go about who you want to be as a person is what's going to dictate those opportunities and how happy you are. And and then the people you put around you. And then understanding how to put expectations. And then and this is why I wanted to, and maybe this is a 2-part podcast. We're going to find out. But before we started talking about business and, because I think you've got some great points with that, and we were going to kind of go down that road. But I think prior to talking about business and expectations of employees and this and that and that and this, all super valid, I just really think that, like, the battle with yourself just comes first.
That's everything.
You know what I mean?
That's everything.
So not to take, like, this entire podcast to just cover that. We're kind of doing that, but it's really, really, really important, especially for those of you that are listening and you're a younger crowd or you're not, but you're a leader. You really have to understand how important self-awareness is. And you really have to understand, like, when you're critiquing or giving a lesson learned or giving advice or whatever you're doing or firing someone, it has to come from such a place of peace. So when you're firing someone, like, that's important. That's a big decision. And are you taking something personal? Is someone terminal? Why are they terminal? How do you go about it? And then once you do that, how do you deliver a message to the rest of the team? How are you setting standards? Do they feel that you did it because it was emotional and you didn't like someone, or there was just some standards that weren't hit? Like, or people, not even just fine, but just giving people advice. You are affecting their life. You're telling them to go do things and spend time on stuff. and understanding how that can change the course of their life. And then you're having to manage their expectations of themselves, their moods and their worries and whatever it may be. So if you're not in a good place to be a beacon for all of that, if you're caught up in your own storm, how do you know what true north is?
Yeah, you don't.
You don't. So again, not to get long-winded on just some things for yourself, but especially with entrepreneurs that are just riding solo, you need this. If you want to be a leader, or if you're a father, you're a leader. But at some point in this chain of command per se, you're a leader somewhere. And again, man, I just think it's so important that you've got to kind of, calm your own storm and just learn how to manage your own emotions and let go of control and just understand a lot of what we're talking about today in order to just be a fresh beacon and have good direction for others.
Finding your gratitude, having that perspective, like when Cash was here, man, and you're talking about being grateful for him. That perspective is so important, because when you're 5 minutes late to that class or that meeting or something and you're freaking out, I know the feeling. You're sitting in traffic, you can't do anything about it. You're 5 minutes late. Is the world going to fall apart?
No, but here's the deal. Let's give context to that. If your ass is 5 minutes to my meetings every single time, you're in trouble.
That's different.
Because here's the deal. If you're 5 minutes late one time, I get it. But what you should expect from yourself now is like, oh, there's construction on I-25 at this exit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Unexpected.
Yep.
Normally I'm on time. Today I'm going to be 15 minutes late or 5 minutes late because it's unexpected, and being realistic. No one's looking at construction patterns at 4 a.m. to find out. I get it. Sometimes things are unexpected. So you're right. In that circumstance, take a breath, figure it out, all good, get there safe, everyone is safe, all good. If you create a pattern of being late because the next day you're still leaving at the same time, you're not prepared. So this is where, okay, something on a very simplistic level happened to you, and now, nope, you don't have control of that. But now that you're aware of it, you do have control of getting up earlier or getting out of the gym earlier or whatever you got to do to prepare to be at that spot sooner to equal being on time.
And asking yourself, if it's that repeated shit that Will's talking about, why is this not as important to me as it should be?
Well, yeah, because if that job is just not that important, or you just don't care that much, but they pay you and you're just going to collect a paycheck. Listen, I understand that thought process, and I don't care. I just work here. And yes,
it's dangerous.
You can always go get a job somewhere else. Whether it's, and I'm not encouraging you to be an entrepreneur. I'm not encouraging you not to be an entrepreneur. What I am encouraging you to do is take control of what you do have control of, and that's how you want to approach every day. And if something is not happy, but it's a paycheck, get your ass the hell out of there and go do something that makes you happy.
It's true. It's true. And
you do have control over that. And if the next job doesn't make you happy, okay, are you approaching that job with the right level of commitment and the right level of effort to even figure out if it was a great job? Or the second it's hard, you're complaining about it. So let's not get stuck in the weeds on that. Yeah. You got to apply the work ethic and the dedication, and you got to understand that it's going to take time and the flavor. I'm guessing when Fat was learning this stuff and he didn't even work for a year, he was just diving into computers. I bet some days weren't fun because there's just days where you hit a wall and you just don't get it. It doesn't mean you give up. It just means that you need more time. But I think you've got to have a barometer on, okay, how much time and commitment and self-awareness do I have before I understand whether I'm just quitting or this isn't for me. But yes, it's dangerous in the rest of your life if you're going to go somewhere because it's safe and you can collect a paycheck, but you're just not happy. Like that is collateral damage. That little thing right there is a grenade that's blowing up in the rest of your life. And if it's not yet, at some point it will. And then you're just not happy with anything, right?
Yeah.
Super important.
The other point I want to get to is when you're getting upset about things, right?
Okay.
I'm just so big and I mention this a lot because I think it's fundamental in life that you need to fall back on. Just doing shit that you don't want to do and getting used to doing things that aren't fun, right? I know you and I both have things every day, like our workouts. We love going to the gym, but you're fucking yourself up at the gym, right?
Bro.
You're fucking yourself up.
Especially now because I don't know if you guys can tell. Fucking delts are coming. I'm down 24 pounds. Dude, it's not fun.
We love working out, but would I rather be on the couch with fucking Cheetos watching TV? Sure.
Dude, they make these Cheetos that look like little paws. They're puffs.
Oh, really?
They're just puffs.
That's cute.
They are cute. I don't know why the Cheeto Puff paws taste so much better than just normal Cheeto Puffs. Dude.
Do they?
Significantly.
Little paws.
To the point where if they're not there, it's like, well, there goes that cheat meal. Now I'm mad. I'm giving an emotional response. But no, you're right, man. And I think what you start figuring out, this is why jiu-jitsu or like training super hard in the gym, not just going and checking the box, but like for me, I'm trying to keep my strength up. So I'm hitting the same amount of weight. I might have a couple reps less because I'm just down 24, but I'm still pushing the same weight. It's just, I might be down a couple reps, and it's not fun. It hurts and it's hard, and I'm sweating my ass off right now. However, I feel really good still going in there and giving it my best fight, and just understanding that like I'm accomplishing a lot by putting that fight in every day. If I don't, I understand where it puts me. So I do think, and I'm not as emotional about the gym. Like if I don't hit 405, 495, excuse me, talking incline or flat, I guess, or whatever, it doesn't matter. If I don't hit something one day, or if I hit it for 2 less reps, I'm significantly less upset about that than like if a deal falls through. Because you're upset for the client, or or if like somebody was just being a jerk and it didn't work out, and a lot of times agents on the other side think we're against each other. Whatever it is, I do like the jiu-jitsu or the gym because it's something where you can challenge yourself and embrace failure. But organically, you're not emotionally connected to not hitting 315.
Yeah, you don't always have the desired outcome.
You're just like, all right, I got to keep working at it. But it didn't affect your wallet. It didn't affect something. So again, it's failure, and you're pushing against it, and you're overcoming it, and you're getting stronger. But organically, by going to stuff like this, jiu-jitsu or the gym, organically, you're not as emotional. You're emotional about the process and getting lean and shredded or buff or whatever. But if that one set, you got one less than the other, I've never seen a guy just like lose his shit over it. Like we've seen people lose their shit over a deal.
Yeah, bro.
Right? Which is fine. I'm not saying that you should be super mad about getting one less rep. But it's enough struggle and adversity to just allow you to have that process. And look, man, I don't get mad if I don't get those 2 reps, but here's the deal. I do remember.
Yeah.
So that next week or that second time, if I'm doing a muscle group twice that week, bro, I'm getting it.
You're setting.
I'm getting back at it. And
yourself,
you know what? I'm actually stronger now than when I was down 10 pounds.
Yeah.
When I was down 10 pounds and my calories I was still getting used to the calorie deficit and I had headaches and I was tired, I was weaker.
Yeah.
When my body became accustomed to less calories
and
it started utilizing what I was giving it, and then my mind starts becoming accustomed to that, my strength came back, and dude, now I'm hitting. So I went from like hitting a certain amount of weight to like, not only are you not hitting weight, you're hitting less than that weight. I was hitting less weight for less rep. Double negative.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm hitting 405 for 10, I was hitting 375 for 6.
Yeah.
Like, but again, like I'm not gonna cry about it. Like I understood what was going on. I had to become accustomed to it and get cool. But I remembered, and I kept working at it, and now I'm back to the same amount of weight for almost the same amount of reps as being 24 pounds heavier.
And it's
just that process of how do you want to come to the gym every day and approach it. This is what I do have control over. I have control over showing up, applying it, putting my best foot forward with who I want to be. Like, who am I in the gym? Who do I want to be? And that piece of having control, that does equal a result. It does.
So 2 parts of that.
Yep.
I forgot the first part. 2 parts of that. Another short-lived.
What does that say about what we're doing here, Eli? Is this like is this a priority for you? Or
so 2 parts of that I remember now. The gym is part of the foundations, one of the fundamentals of your identity that we talked about earlier. If you don't have your identity, you need to establish one, because that's something you can always fall back on. Will's mind, regardless of what's going on, the gym is something he just does not bend on. That is part of who he is, right? We need those non-negotiables in our life. So if you don't have any non-negotiables, find out what those are.
Get you one.
Yeah, get some non-negotiables in your life.
And your non-negotiables need to be something that also teaches you something, right?
Yes.
So for me, I go through adversity, and there's standards that are set in that gym. It's not just a non-negotiable of watching NASCAR on Sunday.
No.
Okay?
It's something
that's
going to challenge you.
NASCAR's not cool. I'm just not growing from it.
It's going to challenge you. It's going to push you, and it's slightly out of your control, and it's going to push you out of your comfort zone on a regular basis.
Correct.
That's very, very important. The second part is when you're upset about something, asking yourself, what's the alternative? So if you were to get mad about missing those reps and you're slamming the weight shit, all right, what's the alternative? You quit weight training?
Right.
Or you just come back and you try and get better, and you get better. You're stuck in fucking traffic. What's the alternative? literally nothing. You can
I
be,
feel like my sarcastic blood
oh
coming
my
out. Like,
God.
I'll just kill the driver in front of me. Like, oh,
Dude,
really? You're going to do it?
people that have road rage,
Yeah.
I can't stand people that have road rage. I cannot stand it.
Well, I think it's definitely a little bit of like a capture inside the rest of their life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right?
right.
Big time.
Right, but it's like, what's the alternative? Hey, throw on the Comedy Channel and chill the fuck out. You're just going to be late to wherever you're going. And next time, check traffic before you leave or prepare a little better, right?
Or just leave early. Right. And
yes.
I mean, yeah. And so my thing, like in Kate and I, we've always kind of set this rule for each other, and you and I have spoken about it a lot. I'm at a place now, like I'm all good with like these unknown variables and like something like we're using traffic today. Obviously this is a small circumstance, which is good because then we can have an open discussion where it's not too emotional.
Everyone can relate to it.
Can
Happens
relate to
frequently.
it.
Right.
Happens. But what I get, man, what really like puts like gasoline in my veins, dude, is learning mistakes repeatedly. Like if something happens a second time, look, dude, if I learn a mistake a second time, like I'm already like, and then if it becomes more than two, and you are borderline, you got a habit on your hands, and you got to really check that. And it's okay. The biggest thing is like, it's good that you're catching it. Good, catch it. And this is the third time you've done something. But again, where does your own personal integrity lie? Where does your standard lie? As in, look, you've done something 3 times. Okay. Is it you? And do you really need to like get yourself in gear, or are you just doing something that's not important and you're going through the motions? So if you're late to work every day, is that just your own standard? Or, well, this job just isn't that important. But then you've got this other part of, well,
why are you there?
Why are you there? But then secondly, hey, until you're gone,
Yeah.
What's your word mean? Like, what is your own? What is your own personal integrity? What is your stamp mean on something? I don't care if you hate the job or not. Okay, like how well are you doing while you're there? And I think that I've had to learn that. I think
That's your identity. That's something. That's a fundamental part of your identity.
And I think it's learned. I don't think people like if they don't put the right work ethic, and then it's because I'm just not in it. Well, you're just a piece of crap. No, you're not a piece of crap. You probably just weren't thinking that way. But then as you start becoming aware of like, yeah, you know what? No matter what I'm doing, whether I like it or not, I should be putting my best foot forward. And if I don't like it, cool. Put your best foot forward and then plan your exit strategy of turning in your 2 weeks or whatever you got. But just have some pride in what you do. And again, dude, I've had to learn that. It's not like I haven't gassed stuff off in my life, of course. But at some point, you just got to figure out like, you know what? I'm not going to gaff anything off. I'm going to do it until I'm not. And that's the only way to figure out whether it's for me or not. Because if you half-ass something, well, okay, so do you not like it because it's not for you? Or is you half-assing it preventing you from actually getting into a great flow and becoming super productive at it to where you figure out like you do like it?
Yeah.
That will keep you up at night.
Yep.
So if you're putting your best foot forward with everything that you do, whether you stay or you go, all good, you're going to figure out and you'll be at peace with what you figure out.
So you need to, if you don't have that, guys, this is where the people that are around you are so freaking critical to the path that your life is going to take, because some people just aren't exposed to that. Like if you don't have like the people that you've been around where you said that was learned, there's a lot of people, man, they just go through high school, they go to college, they get their normal job. They're just not around people that have a firm identity in themselves like you. And on top of that articulate it and talk about it and inspire and bring that out in other people. If they don't have those people in their life, some people just never get in their own head and think that. They're just going through the motions every day. And guys, it's not too late. You could be, 60 years old listening to this and be like, you know what? I can start standing for something. I can start setting these expectations of myself.
True. And this is also twofold because I'm like a leader in this world now, right? So just as much as like I doubt am aware that that's learned and acquired. Okay, so if someone doesn't do that, should I be mad? Did I scare you?
Yeah,
saying
you
that?
did.
Fat, you see that? He dropped his little vape pen over here. His
flew out
little
of my
bass head
hand,
dropped
man.
his joint over here.
Flew out of my hand.
Well, I would get upset if someone if I thought someone could have done better. Hey, you could have done better. Okay, you don't want to be here. You could have done better. And it's like, hold on a minute. What am I doing? Hold on. That's me trying to control something or trying to control someone. Even if it's coming from a good place.
Yep.
Hey, hold on. You're trying to control that person or that situation. And by the way, knucklehead, is that person learning something that you have also learned? Yeah. Well, is that something that they've repeated constantly to you? No. Oh, so this is the first time you've ever even had that conversation with them? Yeah. Okay. Put your little cry pants back in your pocket and then go, hold on a minute. This is a moment of growth, not a moment of anger or frustration or control. This is an opportunity of growth because that person is learning something, but then you're also allowing them to learn something like someone allowed you to learn.
Yes.
Chucklehead.
Right.
Right? Tasha's words, chucklehead. And then so now, and that helps me grow as a leader.
Yeah.
But again, when something matters or you care, sometimes our first reaction is that. Fat and I have had that, right? Like,
yeah,
you decided to go on vacation or something, and we had a lot going on that week.
Yeah.
And Fat and I had a great conversation, and man, I was upset. Like, not directly at him, just circumstantial. But then it's like, hold on a minute. Like, am I trying to control that, or am I trying to control that person? And then is what that person is saying, is it even bad? Would I have liked it to be different? Yes. Okay, but you're saying that at 34 with 10 tons of experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that fair to then judge that circumstance
That they should think
from
like
your
you.
perspective versus, okay, Will, where were you at when they were there? Oh, yeah, great point. So this is where like I have some good self-awareness.
Yes.
And this is where I check myself, man. Like, hold on a minute. Like, don't think because you've learned lessons or because you're at where you're at that's the lens. Everyone has to just look through your lens. Fuck.
Dude, that's the thing. Like
You
people,
can't.
I was thinking about that. I was watching the news today, and they had things on about protests and shit like that, and everyone's angry at each other. And I'm like, man, I just get that people have different experiences, man. Like you grow up, dude, the experiences someone has growing up in a poverty-stricken family, an immigrant family, an anything family, dude. Like there are just so many like fundamental differences that are instilled in us when we're babies. Like,
Dude,
things
even
that,
growing up
like,
in a super wealthy family that was organized, that you just learn how to be locked on from the day you were born.
just different.
You have a perspective. Sometimes
Yeah.
people want to talk down to that because, like, well, you don't have a story. Sorry, my parents were super productive and I never felt like testing them, which made me go to Stanford and be a successful lawyer. Like, no, man, like
Right.
that's still a story. But the point that I'm getting at is just understand how to, like, once you've got yourself under control,
Yeah.
this is where putting expectations on others, you have to be very careful. Because I've learned a ton from Fat's learned a ton from me, I hope. But at the same time, just because like I've learned something through life and I've processed it, like, cool, I'm locked on now. Okay. Oh, so then now every time someone does something around you, it has to be through your lens. And if they didn't know what you knew, then it's unacceptable? No. But sometimes, and inadvertently, like you do think like that because you're like, how did you not know that?
Yeah.
I know the response now. Cause Will, I'm not in your fat head. Okay. Right? Like I've had people tell me before, like, hey dude, I just wasn't thinking like you were.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this because I'm smarter or more experienced. What I am saying is we just have different perspectives and everyone is going to learn things. I bet there's things Fat has learned when he was 12 that he's better at, that I didn't learn until I was 30. Who knows? Okay. Like, but the bottom line is, we're all going to learn at the pace that we learn. And some things that I learned at 20 and then some things I learned at 30, dude, maybe you learned at 12. I don't know. The point is we all kind of learn different things at different paces. But once you've got yourself locked on, cool. But don't think that everyone now sees through your lens and through your perspective. And if it's not your perspective, it's wrong. That's the dangerous part of leadership. And that's the dangerous part of, you know, being somewhat locked on. Like, hey, I got my shit together. Good for you. The dangerous part to that is like you start thinking like you just know everything or that everything has to be your way.
Yep.
Or even if someone is wrong, you don't allow them to have that mistake or just have that lesson learned. And like if I were to do that to Fat or if I were to do that to you or someone else, like you really have to slow down and go, hold on a minute. Like, is this an opportunity for growth because they're experiencing some things that I just went through prior? Or is there a pattern of someone being a piece of shit? They're different. But sometimes if something doesn't go your way and just because you call it right, hey, no, I called that right. You're wrong. Okay. What's next? Like, was that a great learning experience for that person? Are they going to grow from it like you grew when you were wrong? Or is someone just not responding to training and they're just not putting in adequate effort and they're a dirtbag? Well, Fat's not a dirtbag.
More often,
right?
more
We have
often
some
than
really
not,
good people
more
around
often
us.
Than not, it's the
growth.
first one, yeah.
But sometimes, again, so don't take you, like once you start getting locked on and you kind of got your shit together, like, hey, don't then take opportunity from others because thinking that you got it figured out, now everyone else is supposed to have it figured out. And have it figured out in however your perception is on how you figure your stuff out. It's it's just not, it never works out that way.
Communication and understanding. Those two things are so critical. I'm learning to be much better about communicating to you. Or communicating from you. I'm sorry, not communicating to you, but communicating from you. So for example, you hired a landscaper on your house, right? Communicate to that person exactly what you want, exactly what your expectations are.
Check in with them, follow up.
Don't just hire someone and then show up and be super pissed when the job didn't go the way you want because you didn't set expectations and communicate and understand and keep an open mind. Like you can't be upset about those.
And
things.
that's a simple level. Let's go super high, right? Like you're running a team. You know, like we run a team here, right? And I'll kind of leave this. Fat's important today, so he has to get going. He's like,
he is important.
Fat's doing this shit to me. Oh, she's a big deal, bro. Fat's like, hey, shut it.
There's 306.
More importantly, as you grow a company, and I'll kind of leave you guys with this now that I've gotten off my soapbox, making sure that whatever the expectations are and whatever we're all trying to achieve, it still aligns with everyone being happy and at peace with the direction that it's going, right? And we've grown a ton, and we kind of switched up our business model a little bit because Fat, like, let's just be real estate is boring.
As shit.
Right? And he was doing a lot of videos that just weren't as fun for him that we were actually better at because we listen to our podcast, we listen to our real estate stuff. You and I can actually find those snippets a lot easier than him. But making sure that we all align with communication and happiness freed up his time to go do a ton of freelance and just stay passionate and creative and be a dog in the fight. He likes to go out and just grab his own business. He doesn't just want to be under our thumb, nor should we want that. But just the communication and everyone staying aligned with like really what makes them happy. And then we all kind of get back to do our thing together, and we have some things together and some things separate. That level of communication and that level of trust and putting each other's friendship first to make sure that everyone is happy with what we're doing and make sure that I care about you and Fat before myself and Fat cares about us and vice versa, right? Like it's really made for a smooth operational system, but it all came from care and putting others first and allowing people to grow, not just allowing yourself to grow, but then once you grow and you think you're all locked on and that the show's over. No. Everyone's got to grow together.
Yeah.
So if you're growing a business or a team, regardless of your goals, your numbers goals, your sales goals, your whatever, everyone still has to be happy with who they are and how they fit into that process and then where that process is going. And yes, it can evolve. We were crushing all together for a year, and then less time with Fat actually equaled more business.
And that's not what I wanted. Like when he called us about that, we didn't want that at all.
Right. But we were like bummed at first, but then as we rolled through it, was like, wait, hold on a minute. This is awesome. Because now you and I got way more productive in real estate. We started doing our own snippets, which is like, yeah, we know what we say. It's better for us to do it anyway. He got to go do more freelance. And then guess what? When he is doing real estate with us and it's job specific, and when he is here doing our podcast with us, dude, we are all excited to see each other. It's way more productive. It's a ton of fun. And it let all of us prove a friendship and putting each other before ourselves first, which created a lot more trust. And this business model is even better. So again, just allowing everyone to have what you'd like to have for yourself. It's easy when it's for you, right? But then sometimes we don't allow others to have it. That's where you're going to go wrong. And I'm going to kind of leave it with that because Fat's a big deal today. He's got some Gucci
He's going to go
nightclub to go to.
He's going to go see Above and Beyond tonight. It's one of my favorite groups, DJs. God, I'm getting old. I just call it Above and Beyond.
Man. You see how Eli just tried to be cool?
God.
Look at him. Hey, look.
Above and Beyond a band.
I'm like your big brother that knows he's old and out of tune. Like he's still trying to be cool wearing his bedazzled jeans, showing up with his little light things and like doing his little weird shit. You're old, Eli. You're a dad. Cut it out.
I'm going to get some light gloves.
Above and Beyond sounds like a kid play park now. Okay? You're not going anywhere. You're not doing drugs anywhere.
No,
Above and Beyond is where like you take your boy. I don't know.
It's
I'm
like
talking
Imagination
shit.
Land.
Fat, get out of here. Turn this music on. Have a happy Friday. Go enjoy your weekend, Fat.
We'll see
Everyone
you
else, we will see you next week.
Thank you.
We're out of here, boys. Later.